Welcome to Redtastic. Story 1. Hi, I'm 40 male. I'm an attorney. I was married till about 6 years ago and had a beautiful daughter named Phu Huang. The meaning of her name is Phoenix. As my ex-wife is Vietnamese, she specially chose that word and everyone in my family absolutely loved it. Phu Huang was a beautiful and healthy child till she turned 4. It turned out that my wife suffered from a congenital disease which she passed on to our daughter. Although my wife didn't suffer too much from it, which is why we never knew, it took a drastic turn on Phu Huang and we ended up losing her. Her death was absolutely devastating and it took a toll on our marriage. We ended up getting divorced. My family supported me to start a new life. However, everyone knew that I was very sensitive about the topic of my daughter's death and so never brought it up. 3 years ago, my sister divorced her husband and had an ongoing custody battle over their 10-year-old daughter with him. However, as she was now pregnant with her new boyfriend's child, expenses were rising and she couldn't afford a lawyer. So I said I would deal with the case pro bono. Multiple court appointments and document filings would have amassed a lot of legal fees, which I didn't charge a dime for. 3 months ago, my sister gave birth to a baby girl. I rushed to the hospital to see them and she was very adorable. When I was about to leave, my mom called me aside and asked me if I knew what the baby was going to be named. I just thought it was too early to ask and didn't bother to ask. But apparently, they decided to name their daughter Phu Huang. I was shocked. It made no sense. My sister is obviously not Vietnamese nor is a boyfriend, so that was not right. Secondly, it wasn't any Vietnamese name. It was the name of my baby girl who I lost. I did not want to have a niece whose name was going to be reminding me of a tragedy every day. So I spoke to my sister and a boyfriend. I kindly asked them to change the baby's name. Very nonchalantly, my sister said that she found the name very exotic and was going to keep it. I was appalled. Exotic? They had no compassion whatsoever for me or my daughter. I was so upset. I told my sister that she was being extremely insensitive not only to me, but also to my ex-wife, who my sister shares a good relationship with, even after we got divorced. Her boyfriend pitched in and said that it was not going to be a problem with her because unlike me, my ex had moved on. He was indicating the fact that my ex-wife was now dating someone, but I knew for a fact that she had not moved on from our daughter's death. The fact that my sister and her boyfriend were being so indifferent started to bother me, even after they knew I was doing so much for my sister, for free. Then I told my sister that if she wasn't changing her daughter's name, I was no longer going to represent her in her older daughter's custody battle. My sister and her boyfriend thought I was overreacting and refused to change her name for a tantrum that I was throwing. I lost it. I left the room and immediately filed the documentation to relieve myself as a lawyer. When my sister found out, she was so angry. She said that I was being a traitor and taking her ex-husband's side just because I was being an emotional fool. I didn't budge and refused to take her case again. Am I the a-hole? Update. My sister and her boyfriend were so mad and called me several times and I didn't pick up their phone. They tried asking my parents to convince me, but fortunately, they were on my side. Now my sister hired a shady lawyer and keeps telling everyone if she loses her daughter, it is only because of my selfishness. What an irony, I was thinking. You're not the a-hole, OP. I'm sorry about the loss of your daughter. Your sister is insensitive and inconsiderate of your feelings. It's not like she's naming her kid in memory of your kid. You would still not be the a-hole if you had said no to that. She's naming her kid that because she thinks it's an exotic name. Who does that? That name holds so much meaning to you. You hearing it every time and being reminded of the past is a torture you shouldn't have to go through. Don't do them any favors until they agree to your terms. If she cares about her daughter so much, all she has to do is back down and offer you the apology you deserve. Story 2. So, I'm a working mother of 3 kids, 9, 11 and 5. My husband used to have a job but was let go at the end of 2020 and hasn't worked since then. Yes, he worked in a few places here and there, like the gas station, but he couldn't keep it because he lacked motive and passion. All in all, our financial situation isn't so great, but I've decided to start saving money to be able to get the decent Christmas celebration the kids wanted and couldn't get in 2019 and 2020. I've put money aside to buy decoration and prepare meals and also gifts. But just a couple days ago, I found out that my husband had taken $500 out of my account and from the money I saved. The rest of my salary goes to bills and grocery, and gave them to his little brother to help him out in child support. I found out and had a big argument with him about how he essentially stole this year's Christmas from the kids to help his irresponsible brother to pay for child support. My husband apologetically said he had no choice and was pushed by family to contribute and pay part of his brother's child support. Otherwise, they won't see their nephews and grandchildren, since his brother's baby mama is vicious and spiteful. The kids came in and I just told them that unfortunately I can't afford Christmas this year, and it's because of their dad who took it away from them by taking the money I saved. There was utter silence, and my husband glanced at me in disbelief. He told the kids to go to their rooms and screamed, asking what the F is wrong with me to spout this kind of bullshit in front of the kids. I said it's the truth and that I sacrificed so much to save money to give the kids some joy this holiday. Then he selfishly took the money and gave it away. He said he would pay me back in time before Christmas. But I don't see this possible since he doesn't even have gas money. He got pissed and said I shouldn't tell the kids that he took their Christmas money, and that the psychological damage I'm doing to the kids is worth a lot more than money, and accused me of turning the kids against him and making them resent him for trying to help out a family member, and stormed off and spent time with his family, who accused me of causing my children mental traumas by saying their dad took Christmas away from them and alienating them from him. Adding this, just wanted to say that the kids know that mommy is the one who brings home money, and so if Christmas gets cancelled and because of money, then they'll think it's because of me. I had many conversations with them about it, and the last thing I want is to see them disappointed in me for something that is not my fault. Thank you. OP, I don't agree with your actions, but I understand the emotions behind the actions. You tried so hard to give them a nice Christmas, and it was taken from you just as much as it was from the kids. I don't think you wanted to tell them that it was Daddy's fault. I think you just wanted them to know that it wasn't yours. However, if your husband gets the money back in time like he says, and if he doesn't, then he's an a-hole and a liar too, then maybe you can undo your actions by saying something like, Daddy made a mistake, but that's okay. We all do sometimes. What's important is how you fix your mistakes, etc. I don't think they will need therapy for life. I'm going to go with not the a-hole. But you would be the a-hole if you do not protect your savings again. Please get a different bank account just for your savings, if you did it once. Now for some comments. Separating your accounts doesn't give him access to it. He wants money so he can work for it. This money is for your family, not for him to give away. Better yet, leave him and let him pay you child support. Let his family help him pay since they are doing it for his brother. Also, what happens next month for his brother's child support? His brother is not your problem. What a family you married into. So sorry. Get out of it. Not the a-hole. Why should OP take the blame for having no Christmas? She's the only breadwinner in the house. She sacrificed to make this happen. The husband needs to take some responsibility for this and explain to the kids why he felt his brother deserved Christmas more than they did. OP, I would leave this guy. He's dishonest, lazy, and steals from his own family. Huge character flaws that don't make for a good marriage. You will always be giving 110% and he will always be taking. We'll see if his brother gives him $500 to help when he owes you child support. He took the money for his little kid's Christmas and gave it to his brother? What an a-hole. Money that you earned and saved and he didn't contribute at all. What an a-hole. Without asking or discussing it with you, what an a-hole. His family knows he's effing unemployed and they hit him up for a lot of money anyways. Effing family of a-holes. Because his brother doesn't pay child support, another a-hole. But what you did is throw the shit of your marriage onto your kids. It's not their job to deal with that. It was a really bad move on your part. I get that it is a messed up situation. You are desperate, frustrated, betrayed, angry, but dumping that on your kids is not okay. You are an a-hole too. He needs to pay you back ASAP. So does the brother, before Christmas. And get your money into a private account that he can't access. everyone sucks here. Story 3. I have a pretty decent book collection. When some people re-watch movies or TV series, I read. Since I was 13, I have let people borrow books, and this has mostly resulted in the books coming back with water damage, dog ears, chewed up by pets, or even pages missing, and it's never by just one person. I'm 27 now and stopped lending books when I was 23 after I lent several books to 5 people and got none of them back. My mother-in-law hates a book club's books, so I give her recommendations and let her borrow mine. She is one of 4 people I will lend books to because she knows how I feel and always gives them back, intact after 2 or 4 weeks. On Mother's Day, we were talking about a book we both read and sister-in-law asked if she could borrow it. Mother-in-law actually got her a copy on Kindle and offered sister-in-law the login info. She said she likes physical books and asked if she could borrow my copy. I told her that I'm weird about lending books because hounding someone to get it back puts me in an uncomfortable position. Father-in-law then says, and sister-in-law, "You have 3 books of mine you borrowed when the pandemic started. Can you bring those back before asking for another?" He was irritated because he hadn't gotten the chance to read them and it's been 2 years. She said, "Sure, I'll bring them back next weekend." He asked how she liked them and she goes, "Oh, I couldn't get into them, so I only made it like a quarter way." She asked me again last night to borrow the book and I just told her no and that it's actually free on Kindle right now. I'll give her my login. She said she likes a physical book and I told her it was less than $20 on Amazon. My partner agrees with me and says I'm not obligated to share my stuff that I don't want to. Meanwhile, my mom thinks it's just a book. Am I being an a-hole for not letting her borrow a book even though the idea now gives me anxiety? Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. You are under no obligation to give people your stuff. And it wouldn't make you an a-hole no matter what kind of stuff is at play. You could have been an a-hole about how you phrased your boundary, but in my opinion it sounds okay. And moreover, after making clear your reasoning to your sister-in-law, and father-in-law pointing out that sister-in-law is not necessarily good with books, I find her asking you a second time to be kind of intrusive. Not the a-hole. Aside from it being rude AF to damage or fail to return borrowed possessions, the library is a thing that exists. It's also free, and most branch systems are doing away with late fines, which is great for her considering she never returns things. Still don't do things though. It sucks for other people who want to borrow a book. If it's free on Kindle and $20 on Amazon, I'm guessing it isn't a new release, so there probably wouldn't even be a waitlist. Not the a-hole. She's already been confirmed as a bad book borrower. You have ample evidence you may never get your books back from her. I mean, I like the feel of a physical book too, but I will absolutely use an e-reader. Especially for travel, cause I get to bring my whole library with me. Regardless, everyone has things they care about. In your case, it's your books. Your partner is right. No one is entitled to your things, particularly if they will not respect them. Your mother-in-law seems to understand you better than your mom, as does your father-in-law. Do not let your sister-in-law borrow anything you are not willing to lose forever.